You've heard from the students why their candidate should be the next president of the United States. Now you're going to hear why their opponent's candidate should not be the president of the United States. Ian is going to start.
Good morning once again, Salesian High. This is personally my favorite part of this week of events going on for the election. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I was thinking, should I talk about the scraps of policy proposals that Trump is saying, or maybe many of the many business failures that he's had over the years? But I thought, why don't we get right to the sources and quotes that he has said against many groups of people. So first, we want to start out with the quote saying, "I am not a racist," he once told the Washington Post earlier this year. "I'm the least racist person that you've ever interviewed." Let's keep that in mind. When it comes to Mexicans, he said, "When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems and are bringing their problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some of them, I assume, are good people." This is obviously not an accurate statement at all. He's saying just these people from Mexico apply to all of these, well, not all the people, but some of the people apply to these standards, and some of them are good people. This is obviously not a correct statement at all, way out of line, and a very racist statement. When we're talking about Muslims, he has said that in a CBS interview that the profiling of Muslims in America is something that we're going to have to start thinking about as a country. As a country, I don't think everyone is on board about racially profiling Muslims, naming them as terrorists, and identifying every one of them with all the actions that have been going on with ISIS. When asked about shutting down mosques, Trump has said, well, I would hate to do it, but it is something that you're going to have to strongly consider. A religious structure, and we're going to monitor it? Why just the Muslims? There have been crimes enacted in the name of Catholicism and Judaism and all the religions. Why is it just Muslims now? It's not fair at all. Also in relation to the mosques, he has said, you're going to have to watch and study the mosques because a lot of talk is going on at the mosques. How is this fair at any level? Once again, the other temples and churches, they're not being monitored. Why is it just the Muslims? We can't identify with the stereotype that all Muslims are terrorists in the name of ISIS. It's just not fair. Next, on women, he has said, if I were running The View, the TV show, I'd fire Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, I'd look at her right in that fat, ugly face of hers, and I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. Hold on. Now, we all know this one. On his daughter, he said, I've said, if Ivanka wasn't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Now, you know, this is something I would consider locker room talk. And something else he's considered locker room talk are the words that he said in the video that was released 2 weeks ago. Now, for those of you who do know what was said on the video, and some of you who don't, you should not know. And it's sad that a presidential candidate has said words like these that I can't even say again to you and you can't even say on TV. That can't be someone who's running this country who has said those things about women. It's just misogynistic and not acceptable at all. When it comes to the DNC convention, with the fallen soldier and his parents coming to talk, one of the fathers said, what sacrifice have you made for this country, Donald? And so in an interview later, he said, I think I've made a lot of sacrifices. I've worked very, very hard, and I've created thousands of jobs. But I want to know, where is the sacrifice for Donald Trump? He's had the small loan of $1 million to start, and now he's worth $9 billion. He hasn't spent a day in public service. Meanwhile, Hillary's been there 30 years giving her life.
Bad experience.
And finally, on the topic of African American people, Trump has supposedly said, I think that the guy is lazy, and it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. I believe that. It's not anything that they can't control. This is from an African American accountant in the Trump Plaza and Casino, and when Trump asked if this quotation was true, he responded that it probably was. Also, talking about the birther movement on Mr. Obama, seeing if he was really born in the United States, he said President Barack Obama was born in the United States, period. This was after the time that, after the many 5 years that he started the movement, and then 5 years later, for his presidential campaign gain, he said that I'm ending it, and that Hillary Clinton started it when a memo from her 2007 campaign said, "We are never going to say anything about his background," referring to Barack Obama. We have to show the value of our background. That memo implies nothing that Mr. Obama was not born in this country. Another lie of Mr. Trump saying he didn't start it. So after hearing all this, let me read this quote to you again. "I am not a racist," he once told the Washington Post earlier this year. "I'm the least racist person that you've ever interviewed." After hearing all that I've had to say, can you really believe that? Vote Hillary.